Avoid Patterson. There's a lot of reading. He is a hard grader and only helped his student a little. He is awful. I hated that class. That's nice.
Professor Byman is a really nice and funny guy, but I didn't learn much. I questioned some of his uncritical policy views. He very much represents the Washington, D.C. establishment perspective, which is why I live in Washington and teach in Washington.
Keats and Byron with Professor Wu. Never have I agonized over writing such short papers.
Salties is the best professor in Georgetown. I was completely dreading theology because of the horrible times my peers had, but Salties made it my favorite class of the semester. Take him, he is the best.
This woman is way too perky for 9 o'clock in the morning. Like you wouldn't want somebody perky at 9 o'clock in the morning. And who says perky is bad?
No shade. Robert's a great person. So great they were on a first name basis. He makes jokes in class and likes to engage with his students, but he is petty. Sometimes.
Professor Stiles is amazing. An incredibly enthusiastic and kind woman that always makes class bearable. The Intro to Social course is stupidly easy, and anyone knows how to read can at least earn an A-. I hope you all know how to read.
This class was incredibly unstructured and really suffered because of it. Beyond not really learning anything, there are no set due dates, which means students are constantly worrying about what is due and when. The lectures, discussion, are mostly just piddling away time.
He's a good guy, an occasionally funny prof, but I thought his maps class was incredibly boring, and I usually like geography.
Don't take him. He's not clear and a very tough grader. All the classes can use calculators unless his, even for the final. Take any other professor, worst professor I've ever had.
Tried to get away with bullshit every time I wrote something for him, but he wouldn't accept it. On the one hand, he's terrible, but on the other hand, he was life-changing.
Patterson is extremely knowledgeable and passionate about the issues, and pretty funny too. I'd agree with that.
Easiest class I've taken at Georgetown. Lectures consist of 1/3 of her political views, 1/3 talking about personal well-being, and 1/3 sociology. I wouldn't talk about personal well-being if y'all would just get some sleep and quit coughing and sneezing all over me.
I feel like the previous comments are not about the same old Salties. Worst class I've ever taken, unless you enjoy the aimless, incomprehensible pontifications of an arrogant professor, c'est moi, who has zero interest in his students. You won't like it. He just randomly reads out loud, gives his opinion on them, speaks in other languages. Awful. I love that. I love that. I think one of my kids must have written that.
Schwartz is probably the only professor at Georgetown who still teaches like it's the 60s, misspelled. He's super nice and flexible with assignment deadlines, etc., but only because he wants students to produce their very best work. You got it.
We were reading poems and drawing conclusions from the words themselves. It was a beautiful class. You might think I made that up, but she actually said that.
This lady is a tough grader, and I'm not quite sure of all the abstract thinking that goes on in theology. Yeah.
Didn't want this class, but ended up loving it. Probably the best prose seminar at Georgetown. Really nice guy, very good at teaching, very knowledgeable and passionate, but his laugh makes me feel very uncomfortable.
Byman was helpful when I went to office hours, always answered my questions. However, he wasn't super friendly, approachable during these office hours, somewhat standoffish. One time I went to office hours, I felt like I was wasting his time, as he kept looking at the clock and seemed to be trying to get me out of his office. I don't have a clock in my office.
Before stepping into this class, I had a mediocre sense of Eastern European fashion at best. I did not know what sweater to match with what pair of pants. However, after one semester in this class, I have to say, I'm a new man.
Awful. Avoid at all costs. Incredibly inconsistent with guidelines and assignments. Class is disorganized and rambling. Easily my worst experience with a professor at Georgetown. This person should get her money back.
He's an excellent and engaging prof. By far, one of the best at Georgetown. I'll take that.
Professor Byman is a sweet boy. I don't really know what to say to that comment, but it means a lot to me. Thank you.
Don't do it. That's how much it says.